Hi, everybody. We said we'd go live at 5 o'clock. Well, I think we made it. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're here on Mayan Farm today. We own Mayan Farm. My wife, Carol, and I. We've been here about 9 years on the farm. We have 4 acres. We probably are going to be working with probably about an acre and a quarter, maybe. So we do mixed vegetables, medicinals, and specialty crops. We're located in Opp, Alabama, which is south, way south. We're only about 85 miles north of Destin, Florida, or the beach. So we're in the very lower part of Alabama. We have very sandy soil. I'm going to kind of talk to you a little bit first about how we do things and what we do. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what we do here in this building. And then we'll go outside and I'll show you a few things out there that we grow and how we do things. And then we'll come back in and we'll talk a little bit more then about the changes that we've seen in our operation with the new situation that we have with COVID, and so how it's changed our markets and that kind of thing. So just try to give a little information to other farmers and other people who might have questions about how we are doing our markets now. But our main thing here is to do no harm. I mean, we try to cooperate with all the nature systems, whatever that might be, here on the farm. And you all know that nature has laws, and those laws must be complied with. And did you know that, out of all the organisms in the whole world on this planet, every one of them apply the laws and obey the laws of nature except for one. And I guess you can recognize who that might be that doesn't follow the rules all the time. And so we forever fight and we try to enforce our will and force our will onto nature. And a lot of times we pay a price for that. And we don't have the results that we want because we're not operating within that system. And I don't care if you're Judeo-Christian, Eastern, atheist, whatever. We all understand that this system is here. However it got here, it doesn't matter. We have to deal with this system that we have, and it's a very good system, and it works well, and it works perfectly as long as we cooperate with it. Some of the things that we try here is minimal tillage. We don't till any more than we absolutely have to. A lot of times just a broad fork or something like that, or if at the beginning of the season or something like that, or if you're clearing land for the first time, yes, we will use tillage, but generally we try to use more of a plow point instead of a disc or something like that would slice and dice and really cause a lot of damage in our soil structure. If you use some kind of a plow that's not chopping and slicing, you're better off with your soil structure. You're not going to cause as much damage there to do that. So that's one of the things we try to do here. We try to use minimal sprays, absolutely no conventional sprays. But if we do use a spray, it's organic, but I even have a problem with using the organic sprays because of the fact that they're non-discriminate. So one of the biggest things that we have to learn, and whenever we're trying to work with nature, is that we need to learn that the microbes, the fungi and the bacteria, and all the other things in the soil food web have to be present and for your plants to be healthy. And those plants are looking for that help that's in the soil for them to be able to assimilate the nutrition that is in the soil, the nutrients that are in the soil. So these microbes are very, very important. And so we want to try to do as minimal damage to them and try to help them along as much as possible. So if we do that and we allow the plant to control what it takes up into its system and what it puts out as exudates back down into the soil, which I don't know if you are aware of it, but up to about 85% of the carbohydrates, or the carbon that a plant pulls out of the air, goes back down into the soil. And the reason why that is because it's feeding those microbes, those fungi and bacteria, and they in turn, the plant controls that, which ones are growing by what kind of exudate it puts out. And these microbes basically bring the nutrition to the plant. And that can be of a soluble kind, or it can be of a non-soluble kind. And that non-soluble will not even show up on your standardized soil test. So there are nutrients out there that don't show up on the soil test that actually can be advantageous to your plants, as long as you have that biology there to be able to take that material and process it and put it into a form that the plant can use. So those are some of the things that we try to do here. Generally, plants that have this symbiotic relationship with these bacteria and fungi, they actually are prone or less prone to have pest pressure. I find in my own farming that whenever I see usually a outbreak of any kind of pest, generally I can look at my plant and I can already tell that plant's already stressed. And I'm almost looking that it's going to happen because that plant is stressed. And so the bugs are there basically as cleaner-uppers. So if your plant is at optimum health and it's being all it can be and doing the best he can to take these nutrients in, and it's programmed by its own DNA to be as good a plant, and it will do that. It's programmed to do that. It's part of those laws I'm talking about that are present that plant has to obey. And likewise with all that other organisms that are in the soil. So one thing, if you have less or if you have healthy plants, you'll have less pest pressure. And then we need to also look at the fact that there are weeds out there, and we call them weeds, and there are weeds to us, but they're really not weeds. They're actually programmed by this system to function in some way to help that whatever impact has been placed on that soil, whether it be tillage from us or where we come in and we cut the timber, or there's any number of different things that we can do that can harm the soil. And these first plants that come back are the ones who are pioneer plant species, and they're there to break compaction. They're there to do all different kinds of things. And so a weed is not really a weed. Actually, what it is something that's trying to help us, and we need to try to figure out, okay, or we don't even have to figure it out, really. All we need to do is just cooperate with it. A lot of times I'll let a weed come on up, and because there's a reason why that weed has germinated, that seed in that particular place at that particular time, it has a set of parameters that have to be met for that seed to germinate. So there's a reason why that weed is growing right there where that is, and if I can just cooperate with that, let it come to fruition right before it sets more seed, then I've let that plant do what it's going to do. There's so many weed seeds in every square inch, that there's enough weed seeds to last for 1,000,000 years, I believe, already on the earth. So, there's a reason why, and I see this sometimes in the tunnel house, and I see it on the in the row outside, is that there will be a succession of weeds that will actually take place, and this year I'll see one set of weeds, and I look at, and I go and try to do some research on that weed. Okay, what could it be trying to do in my soil? And I can find out that there's a reason why that weed grew. And then the next year there might be another weed that might be prevalent in that same area, and it's something totally different, and it's doing different things. And I really am not smart enough to know all that's going on there, but I know that there's a reason why it's growing there. So trying to work within that and letting that system determine what is going on there, and then all I need to do is just try to work within that system and get as much as I can out of it without damaging it. And now sometimes you get to a point where okay, my plant's not in the best health, and I know that, and it's because of something I've done. And for me to be able to get something out of that crop, then I'm going to have to do something. But that's the last thing that I want to try to do. So I've kind of give you a little bit of a background on this. We're going to take a little walk around. First, I think I'm going to show you a little bit around here. That this is the building that we use to do our classes and things like that in. And we process a lot of our vegetables in here and that kind of thing, and we store things that we take to the market and all those kinds of things. So we have a lot of things going on in here. I would like to show everybody something that we've been growing. One of these specialty crops that I'm talking about is turmeric, and that is a tub of turmeric right there that we grew this year as part of a study with Auburn. But it's beautiful. If anybody wants any turmeric to grow, we have plenty. Just let me know, and we can work something out. This stuff is great for eating, or for using as a seed for next year. So we're going to walk on around. Like I say, we've got plenty. This is the way we actually do it. We actually put it in these tubs and then blow a fan over it so it keeps it from going and getting a bunch of mold or mildew or something like that on there. All right, we're gonna go. It's hot out here, so and bright.
If it shuts down.
Yeah, and I was out here a while ago, and I did it on the tunnel house, and it shut down on me. So I may have to regroup on the phone and use Carol's phone. If it does shut down, then we'll just pick back up with the rest of the video with hers. So I wanted to bring you out here and show you a couple of things. If I can get this thing to, okay, here we go. There we go. All right, so this is the back part of the property here. This is about a half an acre that we're going to be using. And to start with, we had gotten a cost share with the NRCS, so got the well. There's the well house right over there. So we got the well house and the well put in, and we have to grow a crop this year. And so probably out here we'll have some of our specialty crops. You can't see them right now, but there's around 125 different elderberry trees that have been planted around that edge. Elderberries are more of a edge type thing around here. They grow wild. And so we'll have turmeric, we'll have elderberries, and we'll have, I think, some husk cherries. We're working with a new project with Auburn on husk cherries, so we'll have those, and I'm probably going to put a few watermelons back there too. But and then after this one crop is done, we will be planting next week for this, and then after that, the plan is to have an orchard back here, and more of a permaculture guild orchard where we would have like say a pawpaw tree and then have some nitrogen fixing trees, and have some different kinds of berries and things like that. And speaking of berries, there's one thing I wanted to show you right over here. And we just do a lot of things like this around the edge of the woods. But that plant right there is a black goji. Black goji is something I'm really excited about as far as growing it here in Alabama, some of my experimentation. And then we have a garden huckleberry here that makes a nice black berry. It's a little bit tartar than the black goji. Black goji is sweet, but has a lot of good nutrition and antioxidants. And the huckleberries are used more for like jellies or jams or something like that. So we're walking around this way. If I can get my apparatus to work for me here. Okay, here we go. I'm just now getting used to this new apparatus here. This is a gimbal that's keeping my phone steady. But anyway, this is a Tithonia diversiflora, and it's another one of those chop and drop kind of things that we do, and which we like to do around here. We use several of those. Comfrey, there's a shot of the building. If you can see over there on the picnic table, that's my irrigation that just came in yesterday. But another one that we like to do that's a native around here that you don't see many of them anymore is a mulberry tree. This is a mulberry tree. They're about 2 years old. They've only been in this spot just for a few weeks, but they already have mulberries on them. We've been picking off and having mulberries, which was, I'd never had mulberries before, and but they're pretty cool. And let me walk on around this way a little bit. We do a lot of things in the edge of the woods and stuff like that. That's a black haw. It's a very medicinal plant right there, and then you got another hawthorn behind it. And so those are some of the things that we like to do. Of course, we're a little bit more on the medicinal side of the house. This right here is something called a Hugelpile, which it's done in Germany. It was a guy in Germany who developed it. And it's basically a ditch that I dug with my tractor bucket and then put a bunch of great big logs in. So it's come down, probably fell about a foot, but it's got all kinds of herbs and native medicinal plants. We do a lot of moringa, if you're familiar with moringa. Of course, they're just now coming back out. But if you look there, you can see that they come back from the sticks from last year and come back out. See, there's another one coming right there. And they'll grow to be approximately, I'd say, probably 25 to 30 feet in a year, and in one season. And then I just cut them down in the wintertime, and they come back. But here's a little bit bigger one right here. You can see it looks pretty good right there. But we cut the leaves off, and we use the leaves, and you can eat them just like you would any other salad green. Now this is the medicinal plant garden here. We are kind of got influenced by Miss Tia at Auburn with her medicinal plant garden. And so we decided we would try to do something like that. But we had a lot of trouble with crabgrass and I don't know what all it was. Just a lot of more crabgrass than anything, I guess. So I planted some clover in here, so the clover is coming out. But you can see there's all kinds of different medicinal plants here. Just looking here, I can see feverfew, I can see yarrow, I can see verbena, horehound, white horehound, rue, just a whole host of medicinal plants. There's down by the fence, there's wormwood and some bananas down there, some different kinds of things. There's turmeric planted in here that'll be coming up here before long. So mullein is another one that's a good medicinal plant that we grow a lot of around here, and we use it, and it's real good for this time of season because of the COVID. It's a respiratory type thing. I'm going to show you our trailer. This is where we lived when we first got here. This is the place that we lived, and under the barn when we first got here. But my son says we need to do some kind of a Airbnb and do an experience where we can teach people about herbs and about natural farming and those types of things, you know. So maybe one day, that's on the list. Might be another diversified revenue stream that we could use. So I'm just going to walk on a little further here. It's kind of hard for me to see what you're seeing because the sun is in my eyes. But lots of different kinds of things here, and I don't really do a whole lot with the weeds, as I said. You know, we just kind of push them back out of the way, and a lot of those second and third stage metabolites that get in a plant whenever it's trying to fight for its life here is a lot of the same things that we want to have in our food. So, you know, they're doing their thing. One other thing I wanted to show you guys over here is something that I've been working on. I got this off of YouTube, but there's a couple of guys on there. If you do wicking beds, if you look at wicking beds, you'll see that there's several guys doing these. And what's actually happening here, it's a half of a barrel, and inside that barrel are bottles, water bottles that we punch holes in them with like your ice pick or whatever. They'd be small holes, and then that pipe actually has it's called irrigation pipe, and it has slits in it, so it's slit pipe. Now on the end of it, I would take and I would put some fabric or whatever on it like that, and then that hole right there, there'll be a hole down there in the pipe and have another PVC up so I can put water down in there, but the soil will be on top of that. So basically what it does, it allows air and water to be under the soil, and it can just wick that up through the soil, and you have a little bit of airspace there also that helps your plants too. And this is another version of it right here that I've done with milk jugs. It's doing the same thing, but this helps with people who may or may not be like wheelchair bound, or if they don't have any place to grow something, but you can put this on the patio or something like that, and they can grow. Okay, we'll be in the tunnel house in just a minute. Okay, so here we have the same thing. I got about 3/4 of a pound of spinach off of that bed right there yesterday. We have some more here that has some squash and some patty pans and some Swiss chard there. So let's go on in the tunnel house. I went in here a while ago. The sun's gone down a little bit, so I went in here and my phone got really hot. So actually the water's on, I didn't even know that. But anyway, you can see that I used a lot of tarps to be able to terminate stuff. And if you notice there where the collards and the moringa are going down the middle, there is chickweed there. Now we don't worry about the chickweed too much because we use it as a medicinal, and it just mats down and keeps the other weeds out. So I've decided to not fight it anymore, basically. But we have some more of the barrels over there, and if you notice, we do have Dr. A's IPM test stations here, and we have basically the same thing outside, so that if there's any bugs in here and we catch them, then we compare that to how many bugs are outside.
Share the experience. Yes.
Yeah. Now we have seen lots of good success with the IPM that's on the tunnel house. It has kept a lot of bugs out that we would normally see. I wanted to take you a little bit further on around and show you some of these beds that I was talking about. These are some of those same beds. Now I picked off of these about a pound yesterday off of that one, and then I got about a half a pound off of that one, and then if you notice this one over here, I'll show you. If I can work my machine here. I'm getting confused. But anyway, if you look at that right there, that has arugula, and it has lettuce, and I did not cut this week. And it has a few watermelons, like icebox watermelons down there, and some arugula on the other side that we will. And I see, yeah, Karen, nutsedge was one of the ones I was trying to think of a while ago, that we had a lot of the stuff in the, but no nutsedge in the tunnel house at all. We pretty much, chickweed is our big thing, and so, I mean, these type of systems here, this is a half of an IBC tote. If you know what an IBC tote is, it's one of those containers that is white plastic with a frame around it. And all I did was take it and cut it in half, and then I put that pipe in there like you saw a while ago. So same kind of thing here with some deal, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with Spilanthes, but it's the toothache plant, and I always have fun letting people try those. If you've never tried them, you need to try them. You find somebody that's got some. We have a prop house here that we use to start different things. It gets really too hot most of the year. We like to do that kind of thing and start native plants, and so you can see some of this stuff that we start, different things. I've started some native azaleas there that I wanted to try. I found one in the woods. I'd never seen one in the woods, and so we brought some home, and we're trying to do those, and some forsythia, and some of the pepper, black pepper. We had flowers, but we never did get any black peppercorns on it. Now the mulberries are pretty easy to start, because if you look at that right there, that is a mulberry where I just took a stick off of one of those other mulberry trees we just looked at and did them, and they started up real easy. Of course, that's a fig there, but that's pretty much it as far as around here. I wanted to talk a little bit about our markets and things, and the things that we've seen that are different with COVID, and how it has changed our markets. We have seen, I guess, an increase of vegetables, and even more increase in our medicinal value-added products that we do. I don't know if it's so many more new people, but it's a lot of the older ones that we had that had not been buying for a while or whatever, especially in Dothan. Now we've had on our online sales, we've had definitely an increase of things that were from all around the country. Let me see if I can get it back. Okay, I'm back. So we've had a lot of stuff that's come from all over the country where they're buying our medicinal products, and that's definitely been an increase that we've had. So those are a couple of things that I can say for sure that have changed as far as COVID. We've been doing with the market at Dothan, or locally grown.net. We've actually been selling there for about 3 years, and so that was not a big issue for us because we were already set up there and selling. One of the biggest things that I like about that is the fact that it's pre-buy. So if I list something in the market, if it's not sold, I don't pick it, so I don't lose it. Now I can have another place to sell it or whatever like that. So that has really helped us as far as that goes. And we use Shopify for our point of sale at the farmer's market or whatever, and also here in the farm store. And what I've been able to do is figure out a way to use some software that I got through Shopify that's like a plug-in for Shopify, and it allows me to be able to set up a period of time for somebody to order. They can order online, and then they can pick their own time for the pickup. So what we've been doing is having a pickup at the gate or whatever. Just put an ice box out there or ice chest, and they be able to come up, and they have that 2 or 3, 4 hour window, whichever they need, to be able to come and pick that stuff up. So we have been doing it like that. So that's been another plus and I think it motivated me to go ahead and do that. I had not done that before. We always just depended on somebody to call us or send us a message on Facebook or whatever, and we would conduct business through Facebook. But this way, I can use Facebook, and then I can give them a link, or I can sell it right through Facebook and have them pick their own time. And then I can have the product out there in the ice chest, and then once they pick theirs up, then that window, during that window, then I can take that back and I can clean it and I can sanitize it and all that kind of stuff. So, we're not cross-contaminating between people that come and pick up and that kind of thing. So that's really helped us. I guess another thing that I would like to say that would be that the biggest advice I'd want to give a new and beginning farmer or somebody who wanted to be a farmer is that it's really hard to create a market. It's a lot easier to find the niche that's not being filled and fill that niche. That's basically what happened to us. We started out doing vegetables, but people kept asking us about different things, and we were doing a little bit of herbal stuff for our own selves and making a few things for our own selves just because we didn't want to go to the doctor. And then we started having more and more of that happen, and so we're thinking to ourselves, why don't we just start doing a little bit more of these medicinal plants? And because the niche was there, it was not being filled by anybody. So that really helped us in being able to kind of diversify a little bit and move from vegetables over into medicinal plants and vegetables, so that we could have a little bit more diversity in our selections that we have. And plus, if we're growing something and we're making an herbal preparation out of it, that's a value-added product that we can keep for a long time, and we have more time to sell it and that kind of thing. I don't know.
Has it increased sales you're talking about?
It has. Okay, yes, it has increased. I didn't think about it, but we have increased sales as far as that goes. We have more vegetable sales, and we've had lots of different people wanting different herbal preparations that we had just came up with.
Didn't think we were going to sell.
Yeah, we did not make these up for other people, but this has been the case several times where it's something where we made it for ourselves or we made it for somebody else, and then it turns out that and a lot of us have the same problems. So it's allowed us to be able to take that and make a product out of it that the market was already there. We just didn't really realize it, and haven't gone out to try to find these things. We just kind of let them come to us, and basically that's what we've done is we've basically walked through the doors that were open to us. So what I would say is to a new and beginning farmer or somebody who wanted to get into farming, it's really hard to create the market. You've got to have the market before you grow it. I mean, a lot of people can grow a lot of things, and it's a lot easier to grow things. It's a whole lot harder to sell it. So you have to have the market first before you start growing. And so that would be something that I would want to say to everyone.
We have a buyer for the hush cherries
Okay.
already.
Oh, yeah.
Crop.
Okay, cool. We should be planting about 300 of the hush cherries next week. They're in the Solanaceae family, so they're kind of like tomatoes or tomatillos. And so we're hoping that the market is there for those. Probably we're going to diversify a little bit further into more of the Asian type greens because from what I understand in my research, then I would try to find these products that were not being filled. They have to get them from somewhere else. Okay, a little bit about the beginning farmer research or beginning farmer program. If you haven't downloaded the app, be sure to do that. You can go to the extension, or maybe Dr. A could post the QR code or whatever there somewhere on the page, and that, and also there's the possibility of, if you want to get into farming, contact the extension service and they can get you hooked up with a technical service provider that will help you with the New and Beginning Farmer program. It's really helped us. We've used several cost shares from NRCS. The app is great for identifying different plants and identifying different pests. Also, I forget what the total crop number is now, but I think it's around 50 or so crops that they have, how to grow those crops in Alabama. So there's a lot of research been done. There's a lot of things that we can access through the extension service that
What's the app called?
Farming Basics. That's the app. Farming Basics. It's a course, and it doesn't cost anything, and self-paced. So you can also go back and take it as many times and go through it as many times as you want to. And they're continually adding into it. And also that if you have a question for your extension agent, you can go into the app and put in your address when you go in there, and it will tell you and show you the extension agents who are assigned to your area, and their contact information will be right there. So you can send them an email, you can call them, you can do something like that. Yes, it's Farming Basics.
About that. What did you start out growing? Has your crop changed much?
Oh yeah, we started growing, green leafy vegetables. Well, one of the things that we did at first was in a tunnel house like that, it's hard to get the biology right. So you end up with a lot more of the bacterial side than you do the fungal side. So it's hard to grow fungally dominated plants in an environment like that. But it's a lot easier to grow bacterially dominated plants, which is your brassicas are all bacterially dominated. So they're a lot easier to grow in something like that, and so it's a lot easier to cultivate bacteria than it is fungi. You have to have a lot better handle on what's going on in your soil, and that way you can move over into. So I'd say brassicas were some of the first ones that we did, and the standard root crops, the rutabagas, the turnips, and those kinds of things. We are using the white clover mostly, and in the tunnel house, I basically have been letting the chickweed be my, and another one too is New Zealand spinach. It loves a bacterially dominated growing area, and we planted this New Zealand spinach 3 years ago, and I harvest pounds and pounds of this stuff out of the tunnel house, and I just let it go wherever it wants to. Whenever it pops up, I just don't mess with that area and let it do its thing, and it's free money. All I got to do is pick it. I only planted it one time 3 years ago. So New Zealand spinach is one that's great. It takes the heat in that tunnel house really well. Doesn't require a whole lot of nutrition. So pollinators, we have a gazillion different plants. I mean, we grow and plant all kinds of different flowers. We try to stack functions though. As much as we can, we try to stack functions. And then by that, what I mean is that it may be a flower that draws pollinators, but it's also a good medicinal plant that we can make an herbal preparation from. So after the bees get done with it, or whatever, and then butterflies or whatever, then we can actually take that plant and turn it into a value-added product, which is, you might see these right here. These are all value-added products that we've made off of things that we've grown, and they're ready for sale for a long time, you know. So let's see, buckwheat, yes, it would be a good one. I can see that being a good one. You know, I mean, it's one thing, and that to try to figure out which one's the best. And what I've tried to do is cooperate with what's growing there, that not try to put something in there unless I have to. Kind of work with what you got, and same way with everything else. You know, we don't throw anything away. We try to recycle everything and stack functions on different things, and so we try to you know, just make it as easy as we can on ourselves, because I mean, farming's not easy. It's hard, and you can work yourself to death. I had a career before. I said I retired, but I only retired in name only, because all I did was start a second career. And so I didn't want my second career to be 80 hours a week. And so, you know, I'm good for about 25 or 30 hours a week, and that's about all I want to do. So I'm trying to make it as easy as I possibly can, you know. So Carol's telling me to show a few of the other products that are available here, that we do with things. Let's see, get me down here. Here we go. So we have moringa capsules that we do. We have turmeric capsules that we do, that we grind the turmeric. We have what we call our daily dash, which is turmeric and black pepper and moringa, so that you can use that as a spice. So you get your turmeric and your black pepper, which you should always have turmeric and black pepper and a little bit of good fat, and that makes the turmeric more bioavailable. So we do the elderberry syrup kits. We've got growing CBD this year, or hemp this year, so we've got the CBD salve. We do a few mushrooms, which we're probably going to try to tone them down a little bit. Leave that to the more professional guys. I was just hobbyist. So we do hibiscus, great for blood pressure and things like that. It's another product that we take the calyxes and we dry them. So that's one. Of course, the peppers. She cans the peppers. This is some teas that we make from like a bronchial tea here that we've mixed up and made from things that we've wild harvested. We make the moringa powder that you put in like your smoothies or something like that. And we have different kind of herbal bath blends and things like that. We have pills that we make out of the seeds, out of the moringa. This is actually moringa leaves right here for tea, right here. And then, of course, we have some nice looking habaneros and different kinds of peppers. So we're going to grow some more peppers this year, and hopefully do some maybe some relish with those husk cherries, because being able to grow those and have a value-added product. Probably do some shishitos. Shishitos do pretty good here. So okay, so was there a name you had for the bog growing setup with all the water bottles? If you do a search on YouTube and look for Gardening with Leon, he's an old fella from Oklahoma, and he does a real good job talking about it. He's a great guy, and it's actually called a wicking bed is what it's called. And there's another guy from Australia too. His name is Rob Bob. He does that kind of thing too. So there's where I was talking about the we stack up the turmeric and do that kind of stuff. But any other questions before I end this thing? I'm going to swing around here one more time, and hopefully you got something out of this. And okay, we probably are gonna, I have a group, and I'm probably going to start doing some of these type videos where I talk and more about the what I was talking about a while ago about the soil and operating within the system, so that you can grow things a little bit more naturally. And so if you wanted to join that group, I'll probably have that set up in a few hours or maybe tomorrow. And we only farm, we have only 4 acres, but we probably only actually cultivate about maybe an acre and a tenth, maybe something like that. So we have a 30 by 72 tunnel house. So we have 2,000 feet, a little over 2,000 square feet, and in under plastic, which allows us at the markets to be able to grow the winter vegetables a lot easier. And I'll post the link for the group and in the farming group, the Farming Connection. And if you would give us a like on Facebook at My Farm, and we have Carol does a great job on Instagram, and so we do a lot of that kind of stuff, or she does, I don't. And so she's been after me for a long time to start doing videos. So we'll, if I decide I want to get in front of the camera more, I guess I need to do that. Yeah, follow us on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I go out and I talk about medicinal plants out in the wild and wild harvesting, and those kinds of things. And thanks, you guys. Thanks for James for the great job. I appreciate it. And Ken, thank you. And anybody else, you got anything you want to ask? All right, we're going to end it right here. Thanks, you guys. We'll talk to you later.